Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Have a Chat. I'm going to try to keep this one brief, but who knows? I'm kind of feeling passionate tonight, particularly. So, backstory. I went to go see my grandma today, and she wanted me to take home a book to read. She just thought it would be applicable to my life and where I'm at. And the book is The Young Men We Need by an author named Brant Hansen. I was a little apprehensive at first, just because, I have differing opinions from her on the church. She's very much pro-church, and this isn't about her views necessarily, but, I just did an episode about how I think I have a lot of problems with church, but even just modern Christianity in general. So it was a little, okay, what is this? And I read the first I read up to page 38, and then somewhere in and around there, and then I tossed down the book, and I got up, and I was so frustrated. I just had to walk out. And just no, this book. Now, Grandma, if you're watching, sorry to say, but this book is trash. This is a great embodiment of what I hate about modern Christianity, and I'll tell you why. So, first of all, look, we do need people to be fighting the fight, right? We need people to be standing up for truth, justice, and freedom. But the problem is a lot of what, I would say even modern Christianity calls for, what people in the mainstream church culture call truth, freedom, and blah, 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 and justice, isn't really true. They don't, they want to keep the system going, and the system is oppressing us the way it is set up, especially white males, especially my age group. And I'm not saying that to play victim card, but that is just how it is. It's literally every other group. Women are a minority. Well, not a minority, but they're treated as such. It goes I don't want to rank it exactly because I don't know and I don't care. But it's black women, and then you have Hispanic guys, and then you have black guys and whatever, and it's just and then eventually you get down to white guys, and then that's how society sees it. It's these are our protected class, and then the people we care about last is white men. Identity politics is retarded, but that's how they're doing it now. It's just okay, well, white man bad, and so I find it funny that in the church culture and society in general, it's just well, we need good, strong young men, but we need them to be exactly how we want. And in this book, he describes the most effeminate, letting women take over bullshit, feminist shit that just gets on my nerves. So before the first 50 pages are over, he talks about Adam and Eve and how, Adam is supposed to be the keeper or whatever of the garden. And so he mentions how woman is not supposed to be, under or less than, man, and they're equal. They're partners, and I think he said something like they're supposed to rule together or whatever. But then he twists his own thing on its head, and he says that it's actually more Adam's fault that Eve ate the fruit, right? Because he was just standing there and he didn't do anything, right? It's well, hold on. So women are independent, right? And they can make their choices. So that must mean that they're responsible for themselves and their actions, right? Right? Wait, but no, really, it was more Adam's fault because he should have been there to stop his wife from, eating from the tree of knowledge, right? But I just thought you said that we were equals. So what is it? Is it the man is responsible for the woman too? I mean, yes, in a familial sense, it's like the man is responsible for protecting the family, right? And providing for the family. But that does not mean taking responsibility for an individual's actions because, by the way, faith is on an individual level. Christ came to save all of us, not just men. Because if that were the case, that women are just, servants of men, then there's no need for them to be saved, right? Because their salvation will be through men. No. That's not how it works. Christ came to save everyone, male and female, and this idea that men now have to take responsibility for other people's actions, get out of here. Get out of here. You know how offensive that is to me? It's like, it's now just saying there's so many real issues in this world. Talk about the young men we need. How about the system we need to fucking fix so that the young men, the strong young men, can actually lead this country and continue the freedom? But it's so far down this trail in which, I feel so helpless, and I'm still trying. I'm not going to give up. But the evil is so deeply rooted. I just find it so appalling that it's like, okay, on top of having to try to face all of this and find the right person to have a family with, actually have a family, find suitable land, build my own home, all these aspirations I have so I can have a family and, continue to spread God's kingdom and his glory. I am now also, and all the other young men out there are now responsible for other people's actions because we didn't do enough to stop them or let them know and control them. Excuse me. So what is it? So you want independent people who, women and whoever else are they're free, they're equal. We're all the same except for their bad decisions. Their bad decisions are your fault. The white man, well, not white, but the man's fault. What? You should have been there to stop them. It's like, what? We all have free will. So I just, this book really pisses me off. That's why I just dropped it, because I was like, you got to be kidding me. Okay, another thing that he talks about, and I'm going to read this specifically because I want you to hear how ridiculous this is, and I don't want to be, misquoted, or I'm misquoting this person. This pisses me off so much. So let's see. Here we go. Chapter is called "The Ancient Art of Blaming Other People." Let's skip to where it is. Okay. This author is saying, as I've said, the guys we need are those who take responsibility. What we don't need is yet more excuse making, but we do it all the time in ways both subtle and obvious. Allow me an obvious example, in the form of a provocative question for people who are Jesus followers. Question: a very attractive woman wears a dress that is revealing. A man nearby decides to fantasize about having sex with her. Who's at fault for his decision? A. She is. B. He is. C. Mostly him, but she's culpable too because she shouldn't be wearing stuff like that. D. Neither, because there's nothing wrong with the man's fantasy and Jesus never really emphasized this sort of thing or talked about it. We should focus on real issues. Then he goes on to say, I will give you the correct answer. It's B. He is at fault completely. A, C, and D are all excuses. That's where I'm going to stop. Look, had he said a woman, right? Just, not added the wearing revealing clothing, I might see his point a little bit more, right? But you're throwing that in there. Obviously women want to look attractive to men, right? Okay. So you're going to wear revealing clothing, and that's going to turn men on, and they're probably going to fantasize about you. Now, yes, I'm not trying to put blame on someone else. Yes, whatever goes on in my head is my own, okay? But you can't just go around dressed like that and then say, all your fault. Like, okay, yes, the thought is my own, but you're not helping it not be there. And if we're supposed to live in a modest society, right? You can't just like twirl it around and then be like, all your fault. Because he goes on to say, let me go back to that, because, he keeps going. He says, A and C are wrong because the woman is not at fault. It's not even 90-10. She's not at fault at all. And he goes on to say, but, you might say, she shouldn't dress that way. But, I would respond, that wasn't the question, was it? That's because your question is bullshit. Like, what? I'm not saying that men shouldn't take responsibility for the things they think about and that they shouldn't guard their mind. But what a preposterous way to phrase a question. You're just trying to fish there. But technically I got you. It's like, well, okay, but again, you're removing the responsibility from women in this situation. You're saying that they're not to blame at all. He says not even 90-10. She is completely faultless for wearing revealing clothing. What? Okay, so what if she was naked? What the fuck? Like, do you hear how insane that sounds? You're saying, okay, so someone else is contributing to this. Both people can be at blame. Just like how in Adam and Eve, both people can be at blame. Adam and Eve can be at blame. Where he was trying to, conclude that it's really more Adam's fault than anything, and Eve's just a poor woman. By the way, who's equal and who's completely like the same as, Adam. But it's really more Adam's fault because as the husband, he didn't step in. So pick a side, and I can't, man, there's so much, young people in general, especially because of the way society has twisted men and women and marriage. And this is exactly what the rich elite want. I'm telling you, this is exactly what they want. They want us to be quibbling over this stuff. They're just laughing at us. But it's hard because, the way society is, women kind of have to learn to be independent, be on their own, go get a job, go get, whatever, so they can survive until they find a man to get married to, and then they can, fulfill their true, what most women are really interested in doing, which is being a mother. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually fantastic. That's beautiful. And it's just so funny in a sad, sadistic way, because it's just like, no. Men should be providing, and women shouldn't have to worry about any of that at all. Zilch, nada. But because of the way society is, they kind of have to. And, if we want, you want to talk about real men don't go writing rubbish like this. You know who probably really wrote this? His wife. I don't know if he's married, but come on. I can't believe a man actually wrote this. What do you have to be it just stop. How much more plainly could I put it? I am not responsible for other people's actions. That is the kind of the basis of accepting Christ, right? It's you take responsibility for your shortcomings. You are guilty of every sin. I am. Christ has saved me. I can't work for my salvation. His death and resurrection, his blood has covered my life. That is it. And because I'm because of his free gift, and because I'm actually grateful, I am doing the best I can, which I'm very imperfect at, to try to be like him. Not because I think it would earn me salvation, but because I've gotten the free gift of salvation. Okay? So I have to look at myself and be like, I did that. That's wrong. I did that. That's wrong. And I should stop doing that, and I'm going to try to stop doing that. And you pray about it, and you just keep getting back up. Because the second you're like, I'm not worth it, then you're gonna be, you're gonna be working for the devil. I know it sucks when you sin, and it sucks when you mess up. I hate it. I feel like a terrible, terrible person. But you beat yourself up too much, then you're gonna go the other direction, and that's not good. So you know what? It's not an excuse to sin, but you need to just Christ has forgiven you, so forgive yourself and forgive others. Right? Don't hold grudges. Forgiving others, by the way, is more about you. It's more about not holding grudges against people. And yes, it's good to pray and hope that they turn to Christ. But look, You need to take responsibility for your own actions. Life is hard. I can tell you this, young men do not need more blame put on them for not doing anything. We don't owe the world any. I mean, really, like, I would say the best we owe is to do our best in pursuit of Christ. Right? Is to love others. But like, I don't owe the world anything. I will be the light that the best I can be. But I don't have to go around and take responsibility for other people's actions. That's not, yeah, Christ took on everyone's sins, but that's because he's perfect and he's sinless, and he came here to save us. I can't save people. So what use is it going around pretending that I could take on people's responsibility? Like, that's just, like, people don't understand that. In trying to be like Christ, well, yeah, I mean, you want to act like him, but there's some things we can't do, right? Like, my death isn't going to save all of humanity because I'm not sinless. And I'm not going to rise, I'm not going to like rise 3 days later. It's just not, because that's not I'm not God. I am a human being. Man, it's the same, it's the same message that's twisted many different ways. It's a lot of what I hate about modern Christianity. Like I said, started this video out with, I can't believe how quick people just fall into it. And I read like videos, like I even looked up this guy's videos, some of his stuff and his podcast or whatever. And just people, I can't stand it when people just like agree. They're just like, yeah. Are you reading anything? Like, are you actually comprehending what is being said? Like, I try to be like, not so harsh, but I'm getting sick of it. Like, fine. If you're at a slower pace but you need to hear this. Like, that's bullshit. Don't take responsibility for someone else's actions. I mean, are you going to do that when your wife murders someone? What if your wife murdered someone? Oh, get it? Well, you should have been there to stop her. Okay? I mean, like, there's so much that is so difficult right now. Like, the only people that I can really think of that are even sort of well off in their own independence journey are people whose parents have died and their parents have left them stuff. Like, men have so much to worry about, because if you are a Christian and you believe that men should be the providers, they got a lot on their plates if they want to try to have a family. And I'm not trying to be like, woe is me, but the system is out to get us. So kind of, yeah, woe is me. Like, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up. But, the generations past have had it a lot easier. And now it's just not even worth it. It's just not worth doing half this stuff, because all that corporate America wants is to kill any bit of freedom. They want the most amount of money so that they can have their little, heaven on earth and then die and go to hell, which they don't really realize, or if they do, they're not doing anything to change their ways. And they want to keep everyone else down. They want to destroy the nuclear family. They want women to be in the workforce so that, families are less likely, and, kids are just going to be in government schools and continue to be cogs in the machines. And look, everyone's going to work. That's just how it is. Yeah. Do you know how soul-sucking that is? You know how fucking evil that is? So evil. Girl boss, though. Girl boss. Feminism. Get the fuck out of here. You are, and I'm tired of being nice about it. Single-handedly destroying everything good. Like, man and woman getting together, committing to a marriage and having kids, that is good. That is from God. Do you know what the opposite of that is? Yeah, that's everyone. Women, children, teenagers, men slaving away just to barely get by. Really, these apartments and homes we live in, well, the ones you owe a mortgage on, if you can even get that damn lucky, and all the property tax you have to pay, Those are just little holding cells for you to get back to work. Just enough to make you think, oh, I'm living the American dream. No, you fucking aren't. No one has been for decades. Nope. And I'm tired. I don't need more of this shit. That's what I gotta say.